From the You Hear Good Things podcast network, here is Running in Slow Motion with Sidney and Tamra Smith.
Hey, welcome to our new podcast, Running in Slow Motion. I am Sidney Smith with my wife,
Tamra Smith.
Just do it the way you said you wanted to do it.
This has been Tamra Smith.
Dork. Hey guys, you probably heard my voice if you listen to any other of my podcasts or been to any of my shows. I am a stand-up comedian. My wife here is a beautiful educator, and for some reason she's been wanting to do a podcast. You want to run down the 5 weird reasons that you gave me why you wanted to do it?
Well, I have a few reasons I wanted to do this with you. The first one is because you're my best friend and we have the funniest conversations and nobody ever gets to see that side of us. So.
Hang on, now you're overselling it. Now people, now we got to be funny every show. People are like, this is not funny at all. She lied. No, I'm sorry. We'll go ahead with you.
Well,
we do have some good conversations.
We do. I mean, we're not always funny, but you're the person that I laugh with the most, and not just like, haha. It's like we cry, laugh, and so that's the first reason. Another reason is I just thought it would be good for me to get out of my comfort zone. A lot of people in our lives don't ever hear me talk about a lot of things, and sometimes I think they don't think I exist because I don't come out and do a lot of things. So I just tell people you died. Well,
they're like, where is she? She's dead, bro.
I'm usually asleep, but
they're like, are you serious? I didn't want to talk about it.
But I just thought it was a good opportunity for us to, just share some of the joy that we have when we're together. And
we're not gonna have any joy if
we
you
do
don't
have
keep
joy.
No, if you don't keep that mic close.
Okay, well,
I told you don't need a stand. It's exactly why you don't need a stand. Go ahead. Look, folks, look. Your favorite thing for anyone, if you know anyone in entertainment, I don't give a shit what they do. I don't care if they're in a garage band. I don't care if they're comics such as myself. Maybe they public speak, anything. And then when the person who does not do any of that wants to do something with you, all of a sudden they don't want to listen to anything you say. I'm like, you don't need the mic stand. She needs a mic stand. Go ahead, woman.
I don't need the mic stand.
You do. You actually do, because your head's turning this way and it's turning away from it. You're leaning back, then you're coming in. You actually do. And the editing is going to be a bitch.
Well, then you have your work cut out for you.
This is our marriage right here. So, all right, what are your other reasons?
One of the other reasons is I get to stare at this awesome screensaver that you have.
What's wrong with my screensavers?
It's like a running dictionary.
You're a real dick. That's why I wanted to do this podcast with you. I wanted people to see that you are a complete dick. So what she did before,
I didn't realize you were in here getting the words from your computer screen that you use when you speak to me. So.
That's right. I just sit here and jot down notes. So I can use this, I can use that. No, she called me a dork earlier before I hit record, because my screensaver is actually different words that for whatever reason, however it finds them and gives it the definition of, and I'm a dork for that, I guess.
Yep.
Like Virago. It's a noun.
I think that's pronounced Virago.
I don't know. Domineering violence. As you see, this is what I use in our conversations. All right, what's your other reason?
I also wanted to do something different than what I normally do. Like, being in education, I'm always...
Oh my God, you're a Virago. Bad temper woman. Yeah. See, folks, it comes in handy. Now I know who I'm married to. Oh, for now, when you've been a pain in the ass, oh, you're Virago.
Just being in education, I tend to do the same things. I get very in my own schedule, and so I just want to do something different and something that makes me a little bit nervous. That's
right. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, everyone should want to step out, but she knows how I am, so I did not treat her like my wife.
No, he told me I had to set up my own mic and...
Yeah. I said, come in here and give me your list of whys you want to do this podcast, because I do not have time to bullshit.
Yes, we do.
No, I don't. I don't have no time to bullshit. And I want to do a podcast. And then later down the road, you know what? I really don't want to do a podcast. I don't have time for that.
Okay, well, stop making fun of me. What are your whys?
I don't have a wife. Well, just like we got a dog in there. I didn't have a reason that I would want another dog, but my wife wanted a dog,
No,
so we
you
have
wanted the dog. I wanted shishito peppers.
What?
I wanted shishito peppers.
What does that have to do with us having a dog?
And then all of a sudden we had a dog.
Because you said you wanted the dog.
I said the dog was cute.
No, you didn't. No. You wanted me, as you always do. Whenever it is you want something and you think I may not want it, you want me to make the decision. So if I get upset about us having it, you can say, well,
you made the decision.
Said you wanted the dog.
You said it.
Like I'm not on your game. Which actually irritates me because I said, if you want something, just say you want something. We've been together 10 years, knowing you, 15, 16?
Yeah, long time.
Long time. And I have never once, can I think of, told you no about something you wanted that was reasonable. I've even told you yes for shit that I don't think is reasonable. So the fact that you would play that back and forth, it's a cute dog. I'm not sure. If you want it, it drives me nuts.
Well, you have to have one reason why you're doing this with me.
I do, because I love you. That was it. That's all. I'm just on it with you. I hear your pet out there. Well, yeah, I'm doing it because I did think it would be, I figured we would have some fun doing it. And you wanted to do it. You've been talking about it forever. And so I guess the other thing is you were getting on my nerves about wanting to do it, but not getting off your butt to really, be proactive. So that would be my other thing. Because I'm like, look, you either gonna shit or get off the pot. That's how I do, man. That's how I do people. I hate when people come to me talking about they can do or they're gonna do. If I have it in my power to make it happen, I will make it happen. So because if you don't do it, I don't ever want to hear you say it again.
Okay, well now we're doing it.
That we are doing it. And look, you're having fun already. Lose your attitude though. Keep your face pointed at your mic, man.
It's hard. I like to look at you.
Well, hold the mic in your hand. This is why. You're like Jamie Kamaya. It's like working with Jamie Kamaya. For people who used to listen to my true crime podcast, Jamie Kamaya was my host on that. And it was a complete pain in the butt sometimes when it came to working with Jamie. He would always needed the mic stand, always needed this, always needed that. And I could never make heads or tails of why he thought he needed all these different things.
It's a safety net.
It's a safety net?
Safety net, because I don't know if I should hold this close to my mouth or away from my mouth.
Oh, you know what to do with it. That's the first chance I get to crack one of those on you on the show. We're not sponsored by them, but we are having long drinks. It is one of our favorite things to drink. Actually, I think it might be the only thing that you and I drink that we could buy just a 6-pack of these and neither one of us would complain. Like I normally drink bourbon or whiskey and you're normally drinking some type of wine cooler or something.
I don't drink wine coolers. Why are you gonna make fun of what I drink? Because bourbon and whiskey are cool. I like whiskey too, just like peanut butter whiskey.
Yeah, peanut butter whiskey. You like peanut butter whiskey.
But I like a long drink because it's like drinking a squirt.
It is. If you never hung out with my wife, boy, you get her with some peanut butter whiskey and she starts to turn red and smile more. But soon thereafter, she's whispering to me, oh, my feet are starting to swell. I'm like, look, man, you decided to drink that shit. Nobody shovel it down your face.
Yeah, but I'm a happy person,
you are.
When I drink, though. So
You are. I think we're both pretty happy normally when we drink. I know for a fact I will not drink vodka normally in mixed company because I know how I am with vodka. But normally I think we were both very happy if we're intoxicated.
I think I'm like extra happy. Like, I don't think anybody ever sees me like that unless they went to like Vegas with us. And that's when I'll let myself float in the lazy river and have a bunch of drinks. And
yeah, but you're very guarded though. I mean, we're both very guarded. I think if I didn't do what I did for a living, we probably wouldn't have any friends maybe because we don't like.
We'd be each other's only friends.
Like we would be afraid to get divorced for sure. Be on my own. Like when I asked you what were your reasons for why you wanted to do the podcast, you said, well, because you try to do podcasts with other people and then they always seem to quit. And I'm like, oh, so yeah, I don't have any friends. like I told her, I said, you're like the parent who has the child and doesn't realize that child doesn't have any friends till you buy them a gift that they need friends to play with. He bought this friendless child a bat, ball, and a glove. He has no one to swing the bat or hold the glove for him.
Yeah, but at least I'm not like trying to sneak around and pay somebody to be your friend.
What? Is there a story here? What?
I was just thinking of that movie where the parents pay the woman to date the guy. I haven't seen it yet, but I want to.
Oh, you're talking about the net new flick. Yeah, we need to say. I don't even think that's out yet. Is that out yet?
I don't know. I think it might be in theaters.
It does. Yeah. The annoying girl from Hunger Games has put a movie out. I want to say
those were great movies.
Those movies are good enough to watch once.
And I watch them over and over.
You have watched Hunger Games and Twilight, all of the movies in the series at least 50 times.
Well,
at least 50 times. And I'm being very, very conservative with that count because I think there's times when I go on the road or I'm out with the fellas
you don't know.
Yeah, that you're watching them still.
I'm watching it again.
I just walk into the house and the fuck is Twilight doing?
Yeah, but I've told you before that I like those movies because I've read the books, I've seen the movies, I know what they're about. It could just be background noise. So I don't really have to watch them to
turn on the radio. And what's the point of watching having something on the television you don't really have to watch? So I don't really have to watch it. I'm just gonna play.
Just background noise.
For what?
I don't know, just so I could do other things.
And I get background noise. When I was a kid, I used to like background noise when I studied or did homework or something. I just playing some music like normal people do. But you are just watching the same movie over and over and then shooting me daggers if I say, oh, this bitch.
Well,
I say Kristen Stewart's a whore.
That's mean.
She was a little bit.
Probably a very nice girl.
That character was a whore on those movies. She was slutting it up. I
don't think so.
She was the whore on any movie that was made in the 60s when the woman dated the black guy and the white guy. She was dating dudes on both sides of the tracks.
So you said you only have one reason for doing this podcast.
I told you, I do a podcast with my wife. Have some fun. So I figure we have some fun. Yeah, you want to do it.
Yeah,
I'm already doing podcasts.
You are.
Yeah, so this is not like I needed to do another one. I figured we would have some fun doing it. I'm hoping it's something that people want to listen to, and people seem to want to hear you. What are you doing? Why do you keep looking at her watch? You gotta. What's going on, man?
They're texting me about my trip tomorrow.
Who cares? Who cares? A bunch of nerd women.
We're not nerds.
You are nerds. A bunch of nerds going to get in and float around in little floaties. Who cares?
We're going hiking.
How much conversation does it take to go hiking? I personally think these are lesbian dates.
They're not.
I did joke with you about that. 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
You said you and a friend of yours, I won't name her, you guys are going to go canoeing. Is that what it was, right?
Kayaking.
I said, oh, okay. It's a nice lesbian date. Like, it's not a lesbian date. I said, well, how does this sound? I tell you, well, me and Dave, we're going kayaking tomorrow. How does that sound? You just looked at me and laughed because you know how it sounds.
Yeah, but it's not like we had a kayak with 2 seats and we were sitting in the same kayak together.
Well, I'm a guy, so that's exactly what I pictured.
We had 2 separate kayaks, so we were never close to each other.
We pictured you guys in one kayak floating down the river. Then every mile or so you get out and have pillow fights.
Oh my gosh. Is this what men see when women go and hang out?
Well, when you're young, that's what you envision. That's what you hope for. But when you get married, I hope that's not what's happening. This is different.
Well, it was a very good time. I had never been kayaking before, and I enjoyed myself.
I actually enjoy the fact that you have some females that you go hang out with because, like a lot of women, my mother included, and other women I've talked to, you don't like a lot of people, so you don't have a lot of friends by design. It's not that you couldn't; it's by design almost.
I'm pretty sure I do it to myself.
Yeah, that's what I said.
I'm very selective about who I let in, who I trust, and who I, want to be part of my life.
As you should be, and I think most people should be. I don't know. I would like to say that most people learn it as they get older, but I know a lot of people older than us who, they don't. Their life is to go out and have a good time and drink and get drunk and all that kind of good stuff. So a lot of people live in that world. But yeah, you and I are both very selective. You're very, very selective, but you have that luxury because you don't really have to.
I think we were just old before our time. We learned a lot of life lessons, and it's just, I think I just struggle with maybe just trusting people to be that close to me. And I think that's why when I'm with you, I can laugh to the point where I cry, because there's not a lot of people that I can do that with.
Well, do you want to tell people why you struggle? Probably. Like, I know why. You want to do the podcast. So
I think just from my upbringing, I didn't have a lot of people in my life that I, could count on. I knew that people loved me and were in my life, but I didn't have consistency, and I had people come in and out of my life. And I think that, when that happens over and over, it's just a constant heartache. Mm-hmm. So you kind of just put up this exterior and you just learn to, I would say in the beginning, I had to learn to be indifferent, but I think that through that indifference, I learned to be happy with myself. And I learned that I'm actually happiest by myself. And sometimes I just want to be at home.
Well, you know what? It was a couple of things I didn't say at the top because we just off the cuff decided we're going to do this. I mean, we planned to do it. I was busy doing some other work. I was waiting for her to come. She finally came to me and said, hey, I said, all right, let's do it. So I write this shit on the board. Let's write this shit on the board. And now we're doing it. And so here we are. So, because normally I would have had a better opening for you guys. But I will say this. Even though we're married people, this would not be a podcast where we come on every week and we talk to you about how we're perfect with marriage and tell you how you need to get better with your marriage, because I think that's complete bullshit. Sometimes she'll say to me, you're such a good husband. And while I'm appreciative of it, in my mind, I'm like, yeah, but there's a lot of shit I fuck up. So this is not going to be that kind of podcast. And the reason why we called it Running in Slow Motion was because of my wife. And what was the reason, love, if you wanted to tell these guys?
Well, I had a lot of things going through my mind, but I just always think about the conversation that we have with each other about anytime something happens in life, with every marriage, with every situation, with every event in life, there are challenges that come up. And we've always been cognizant to the fact that we're not the get rich quick people. We're constantly working, constantly grinding, constantly trying to find ways to be better, to do better. And it's not something that's going to just come overnight. So running in slow motion to me means that we're constantly running, but sometimes it feels like it's slow motion. Like we have these goals, we see these goals, but sometimes it feels like we're getting there slowly, but that's kind of what it means to me.
Yeah, but at the same time, we built a pretty good life for ourselves. We have a nice home and good friends and so on and so forth, all the things that a lot of people wish they had. So I don't want people who don't know us to sound like we're complaining, or I should say people who do know us and that feel like we're complaining. But I do agree with you 100%. Yeah. We are two of the hardest working people I know. Yeah. And I think sometimes, like most people, I think it's human nature that when you're grinding, and we do it in our own careers and we do it together as a couple. And sometimes you're like, man, I wish this would happen now. But it doesn't. What do I tell you? Sometimes you want to play the lottery or whatever when it's 400 million. And I'm like, you're wasting money. We are grinders. We are not people who win the lottery. We are people who will grind our way to 400 million, but we will not win it based off of a ticket we buy for $2.
Yeah, but I think it's really important to also note that we recognize that. Some people don't recognize that fact, and it's easy for them to be negative and say, oh, life is horrible. I never get what I want. Nothing ever happens the way I need it to. And we're just like, we constantly are looking at things and analyzing things and saying, okay, this didn't work out. What do we do next? How do we move forward? Who do we reach out to if we need help?
I agree.
We're very aware of that, and it's not just a kind of like floating through life kind of situation.
Which is why even with this podcast, we just didn't turn it on and grab the mics and start talking. This needs to be planned out. It needs to be talked about. we need to figure this out. There needs to be a list of different things we can talk about. And part of that is me being anal and OCD, but she gets that because she's just a tad bit less anal and less OCD than I am. So it all works. But to what you were saying about you, excuse me, becoming indifferent because of some of the things you went through. When we talk about stuff like that, and even for myself as well, and I'll be more open, with me having a sperm donor, as I call them, and not a real father, I've always considered myself to be blessed to have men through each phase of my life, which is why I had so many men stand up in our wedding as my dad, because I wanted to recognize each one of them for their importance to me. So I completely get where you're coming from with that.
Yeah, I feel the same. I've had some great people come into my life and steer me in the direction I needed to go when I needed to go. And I also just am very thankful that I was born, I won't say a strong-willed child because it kind of sounds like I was a naughty kid, but I was just always very hardworking, always wanted to be different, to do better, to make something of myself. And so I think that came naturally. So
right.
I'm very thankful that I was born with those, just with those mannerisms to myself. So
yeah, it was, again, both of us growing up independent of each other. I think we have some parallels that we've talked about and we've discovered over the years. We've been together a long time now. It's crazy to think that we've been married for 5 years and together for 10 at this point, because the time has flown by. And I think back on the night of the proposal, and you came out and you were like, "What the fuck is this?" Or what did you say when you came out that door and you saw candles and flower petals? And I had quite a few people there for it.
I was like, I can't believe you're doing this. Why did you let me wear this pumpkin shirt?
I'm talking about when you first came out that door. That was some more shit you said there. Yeah, that was, yes. So for people out there, obviously not for people, but for all of you, except for, a handful of you who were not there, I proposed to her around Halloween, but I wanted it to be a surprise. So a friend of ours at the time helped me come up with this plan to fake this Halloween party, and invited a ton of people. She didn't know, but I invited her dad and her stepmom. I actually invited her mom as well. She couldn't make it, unfortunately, but I wanted her family to be there as well. But she goes out because we're not real costume people. Halloween, we're just not really our thing. And she buys these pumpkin T-shirts, and I'm like, "Look, I don't think you want to wear it. I don't know if we should wear it. I mean, let's not wear it." And I'm talking to friends like, "Yo, she's got these." And the female, they're like, "You can't let her wear that." I'm like, "Well, what do you want me to do? You can't let her wear that. You're proposing." So I tried my best without giving it away, but she just was determined we wear these pumpkin T-shirts. And soon thereafter, I got on bended knee and popped a question, and she said, "I do." And when I stood up, "Why did you let me wear this pumpkin T-shirt?" Just like, so we have these pictures of us in these pumpkin T-shirts.
You remember when I think it was, I can't remember who it was, but somebody shined their light up your shirt and you looked like a jack-o'-lantern. I don't know. I think looking back on it now, like sometimes I'm like, I can't believe I wore a pumpkin shirt. But then, it made it fun because when we had our wedding shower, then we did it around Halloween time, and people dressed up. We did 1920s, 1940s. Yeah. So it just kind of became a theme, and so I enjoy it now.
I don't know why you had to bring up the people putting the light under my shirt. Jack-o'-lantern. I think that was Mongo who did that.
I think it might have been Chris.
Oh, it was Chris. It was Chris that did that. But yeah, I remember Chris doing that, and yeah, we did that we did do that with our wedding shower. We did the whole theme, and people got dressed up. It was a fun time, but going back to that wedding day, we had people who were blood related, but we also both of us made sure we had people who had been strong parenting figures in our life in the wedding, and made sure that they were present too, because for me anyway, that's how I looked at it. That's how I look at those gentlemen, like a dad.
Yeah.
And that's who I call each one of them at different times of my life, dad.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people know, but there's 5 of us. So me, and I have siblings. I'm the only child with my mom, but each of my siblings, we have different moms. But it was the only day probably in my entire life that every person who had a part in my life was in one place at one time and just celebrated our love. Just even having Gail, who was my neighbor when I was a kid and has been my mama Gail since I was 8 years old, and T, who's, he was my other dad. And
he's a black dad. That's what I call him. That's what I call it. As what he's in my phone as is Tamra's Black Pops.
So it was just a day to, look back on, and I still look at those pictures sometimes and I smile because everybody was there. That they put aside any indifference, any whatever the situation was. It was just a day to celebrate me, and I don't know that I've ever felt that.
It was it was really good. I was prepared to have people kicked out. So some people would say I had the largest groomsmen ever assembled for a wedding. These were some big guys, and they were ready if there was going to be any fucking nonsense on your side of it, because I wasn't sure, to be honest with you. I wasn't sure. And to their credit, like what you just gave them, no one caused any issues. No one did anything. No one said anything inappropriate. And it was a great day. It's hard to get a compliment out of my mother. And I'm sorry, folks, if you're hearing the dog barking at all in the back. That is a new puppy that my wife just had to have that we just brought down from Flagstaff with us a couple of days ago. So she's there's not a dog being tortured, if you can hear it. She's just a little puppy who wants out of her kennel. But my mother is hard to get a compliment out of. But she will go on. I would have loved to be a fly on the wall when she went back home to tell her friends about this wedding, because whatever she tells me, I know she's got to really go over the top when she tells these people. But she still talks about it being the best wedding, most beautiful wedding she's ever been to. And even guy friends I have who say that to me. That's not something guys say 5 years later about a wedding. Bro, but that was by far the best wedding I've ever been to in my entire life. It was a good day.
I think it was just fun, and you could feel the love in the room.
That's what my mother says.
Yeah, it wasn't like we spent, hundreds of thousands of dollars to travel.
We spent a little money.
We did, but I'm just, you know what I mean? We didn't spend an extravagant amount of money and over the top wedding, but I think just the love that was there. And
that's what my mom said. She said she could feel that.
Like, we really just chose people who are in our life, who support us, who love us, and it was a good day. It was fun. It was
definitely a good day. And one thing I was proud of in my own way, I guess, but my mother comments on it when she talks about the wedding, was how many people flew in for the wedding.
Yeah.
And she says, you had a lot of people fly in. And that's not a cheap time to come into Arizona.
No, not with spring training.
No. That was, and God forbid we get any rooms for them around that time. That woman, I swear to God, what was that, the Hilton?
I don't know.
It was a Hilton, all right? Here in Mesa, believe me when I tell you, this woman, the first thing she saw was my black skin when she came down and she said, I don't know if your guests are going to pay these prices.
Oh, yeah, it was bad.
We didn't even get into talking about what we needed or anything. We just wanted to book a block of rooms for our guests, as anyone does whenever they have people flying in.
Yeah. Those moments, I like to think that I grew up in Arizona and California, and obviously I didn't experience racism because I'm a white woman, but I guess I didn't realize how prevalent it was until we were planning our wedding and some of the experiences we've been through. And so to me, that moment was very sad, but I'm glad we just picked up and moved on and found a better place.
We did find a better place, but I'm still pissed off about this.
Yeah, I know.
And I have sworn off the Hilton. No, I am not, but I am very, very, very bothered by it. But it's not the first, not the last. But I will say for you, because growing up, where my brothers and I grew up, and my baby sister grew up. My mother moved us to a small town north of Detroit where we were eventually only black kids there. And so we have a ton of Caucasian friends, and my brother, all three of us married Caucasian women. And I don't think I ever gave it a second thought. I'm sure they never gave it a second thought. To us, It's just, we just marry whoever but you have these conversations over the years with other people who are black and who consider themselves pro-black, and I'm using air quotes. And one of the things they say is, if you date or you marry or you involve yourself with a white woman, she can't understand what you've been through and what you're going through on a everyday basis. And when you're younger, you kind of listen to that and you take it into a certain extent. It really doesn't change anything, I don't think, because you're attracted to who you're attracted to. And I've never been attracted to anyone based off color.
Yeah.
That's always a weird assumption I think that other people make, that you're only dating that person because they're white. You know, my first wife was black. I've dated plenty of black women between you and she. So that's never been a thing for me, but it always seems to be a thing for other people. But what I've always said is, I don't care if she has not been through the same things. Does she have any empathy for it?
I was just going to say that.
Because
you married a woman who has an extremely large amount of empathy. And while I haven't lived those experiences, I can still look at a situation and know that something's wrong.
Well, you can be married, and I know guys who are married to black men or married to black women, and there's no empathy given. So your color does not dictate what type of empathy you're going to have for whomever you're with. Yeah. It just doesn't. But back to where we kind of started this portion of the conversation. I was very happy to have those guys there. It meant a ton. And I was very, very grateful for that.
Yeah. And I'm sure we're going to share more about our lives as we go on, but
just stop it. You wanted to do a podcast and now you cram it up over here.
I'm not, but
that's cool. It's cool. It's cool. Yeah,
we just came back from a good weekend.
What's wrong with that? This is a good podcast so far. I thought we were having fun over here. I'm listening to this dog yelp behind me.
Oh my gosh.
I'm looking at the word Flagstaff over here. Like, what does that mean? Oh, that means we went on our annual trip to Flagstaff.
I woke up this morning and was like, oh my gosh, what did we do?
With this dog, yes.
We came back with the dog.
I'm up to 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Last night I couldn't sleep, but I feel like I'm getting up every hour and an hour to take this dog outside so she can go to the bathroom. And sometimes she'll go, and sometimes she just want to lay on the ground and look at me. I'm like, oh my God. And then when I go to sleep, now you're getting up, taking this dog out. And then we already have the other pup. I told you, this is like, so I'm sorry, folks. We are getting way ahead here. A little over a year ago, we got one puppy, a pit bull puppy, when she was 3 months. Now she's about a year and 3 months, somewhere around there. And we take our annual trip to Flagstaff, Arizona every year. We have some great friends up there. We have a good time. And one of our very good friends, Desiree Oxendale, was having a, what was it?
They were sponsoring adoptions.
Yes. Yes. Her family was sponsoring adoptions.
They're one of the humane societies up there.
Yes, and they had this dog up there, and the wife went over and looked at the dog. I went over and looked at the dog.
She's so cute.
There it is. See, right there.
She's so darn cute.
And then when she does that, she knows what it does. So I'm like, do you want the dog? I don't know, you know. So we walk away.
No, I pull no, you have to make the decision.
Well, that's not where you start. You start with the, I don't know. You start with the, so cute. And then, I don't know. And then you make me ask you, do you want this dog?
Well, just because something's cute doesn't mean I need to have it. Because then I love fluffy kittens.
Then you would
I want a hamster.
Then why don't you just say no?
A guinea pig.
Why don't you just say no?
A baby goat.
Why don't you just say no? Why don't you just say no?
I don't know.
Thank you.
Because I love animals.
So
I blame it on Mama Gail.
So, I'll wait till I talk to Mama Gail. Until you rolled her right under the bus. You got about 26 minutes in on a podcast and rolled her under a bus.
She just brought about my love of animals, and sometimes I forget how much work they are.
So now we have another dog. And so what I told you yesterday or the day before, I said we're like that the couples who have kids. And you have the one kid, and just to get the one kid out of diapers, it's time to get you pregnant again. And now and then you're like, well, now we're like, well, we got 2 kids. They're like only a year apart. so I feel like where we're at right now.
So back to our trip to Flagstaff.
Oh, you don't want me to talk big funny stupid dog? Well, go ahead. But the one good thing I will say about the dog, though, before we go back to the trip to Flagstaff, one of my favorite people in the entire world, we lost a few years ago to COVID. And that was T, your black pops, as I would call him. I love that man to death. And you're right, we'll get into some other things because I don't want to cry about it right now. But he used to have this story that he would tell me. And he would just make shit up. He'd talk about when he was a gangster and all that kind of stuff.
You have to give some background. So he was from southern Georgia. So he had a very country accent. And he just said some funny things. And one of his favorite things to say was,
Joe Kokomo.
Oh, that's where I shot Joe Kokomo in his foot.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, he said that we're driving down the street. He's like, he used to call me Mac. Hey, Mac. I said, what? He's like, right over there next street corner is where I shot Joe Kokomo. I was just like, I don't know, like what? So the pit bull we named Mo, and that was short for mom, and that's what T used to call my wife here. And so now this dog's name is Coco. So we got Kokomo.
So we need Joe. We have a tortoise.
Well, we're not getting a Joe unless you rename the tortoise Joe.
I told you we were going to call the tortoise Joe. So we have Joe, Coco, and Mo.
All black people out there right now just pulling their cars over like, this motherfucker has a tortoise.
We live in Arizona. It's a desert. Of course we have a tortoise.
That is not, you can't say, of course. It's like they just hand you one when you get off the plane. Of course you have a tortoise. They give you one when you get off the plane.
It's an arrival gift. You automatically get a tortoise.
It's fucking Spirit Airlines is just handing out tortoises when you get off. Like, where's my money at? But yeah, so we went to Flagstaff and we came back with a dog. But Flagstaff is always a lot of fun.
I love Flagstaff. It's probably one of my favorite places outside of the beach.
Now, for you, is it the people or is it just, what is it for you?
Well, it's definitely not the elevation because I can barely breathe when I'm there.
That is not true. You had a hard time this time because we rented an Airbnb and it had a lot of steps that went to the second floor.
No, I think I love all of it. It's I feel very grounded in nature, and so looking around, it's very green. But I just really love the people there. I feel like people really love you there. I think they feel really invested in us, as far as like they remember our lives, they remember the things we talk about. They just really good people. So I always enjoy it.
Well, I would say that's the other dog if you're the other dog barking. And I promise you guys will not hear this in a couple of episodes.
The problem is it's 5:00 and they're hungry.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're going to have to wait. I mean, you decided you want to do the podcast now. You knew dinner time was going to come for them, so they can wait for a little bit. But yeah, I think they're invested in both of us. And we started going, because people don't know, let me just say, we started going because I was booked to do a comedy show up there. I did well enough. They liked me. They wanted me to come back and do their 4th of July event, which I did. And everyone was so great to us. It just became, now it's just, we're 7 years in now. Yeah. It just become our annual thing. We almost did not go. And I told a couple people, I said, yeah, we almost didn't come. What? No, you have to come up. Yeah. You have to come up. So it was nice to get that reaction out of people because you just don't know what type of effect you are having on people sometimes. So it was nice. But yeah, I love it up there. And I look forward to us having a second home up there when, they're not asking for both legs and an arm to get the car keys, to get the car keys up there. I mean, jeez.
The house keys.
But when we were driving through, going over to Ryan and Emily's house, friends of ours up there, folks, it is so, as you said, so green and so beautiful and such nature. Everyone's walking or riding bikes. I mean, I'm like, we would love that because I think we would do a ton of that if we were there.
Like the kids are outside playing and, all the things you don't see during a summer here in Phoenix because it's just so hot. I mean, the dog doesn't even want to go outside.
I think the other thing for me, too, with Flagstaff is it reminds me somewhat of where I grew up in Michigan. And so it does fulfill that thing for me because I have no desire to go back home because there's nothing really ever happening at home. Because I don't go back and visit often. I think I've been back in about 4 years since my brother got married. But when I go up there, I do feel a sense of being at home to a certain extent.
Should I tell them about my weird thing about visualizing? So I was telling Sydney this weekend that I think that I'm just so enamored with flowers and clouds and trees and things because I can't visualize those things. I know I can look at them in pictures and whatnot, but I don't know what it's called. But when I close my eyes, I don't see those things. I don't imagine them. So when I see them, it's just so beautiful. And just, I swear you probably look at me like I'm a weirdo because I'm just like, look at the flowers. They're so pretty. Look at the clouds. Look at the trees.
What I enjoy is that you think you finally found an excuse to be a weirdo every time you see a flower.
I just really appreciate nature.
I can't picture an apple. Tell me the picture of the apple. I can't see it in my mind.
I cannot.
Like, I'm just sitting here listening to these people. I cannot see an apple in my mind.
I think it's a real thing. I haven't like done a lot of research on it.
All three of you, I think, said the same thing. I think you, Mongo, and Kat, which are great friends of ours that went up to with my brothers. All three. I can't see an apple either. I can't see it. Like, I can see the fucking apple sitting right over there on the table. What are you talking about?
Yeah. What was your favorite moment of this weekend?
Oh man, that might have been my favorite. She's winking at me, so I know what I better say. It was that early morning sex.
That's not what I wanted you to say.
Oh, I saw you winking. That's what you wanted me to say.
That's not what I wanted you to say.
What did you want me to say?
I don't know, but not that.
That's exactly what you wanted me to say. He's making that face
Golf
over there.
course when we walked outside.
No. That's not what you wanted me to say. That's when I was like, shh, keep it quiet.
I thought you were going to say it was our trip to Walmart.
Why would that
I know
be?
you don't love Walmart, but we just laughed so much on our way to Walmart.
No, try to change the subject. Why'd you make that face and wink then if you thought you wanted me to say Walmart? Why, who out there is married and you're supposed to, what's your favorite time this weekend? And they wink at you and the answer is Walmart. No one ever has said Walmart ever. Oh, what are you talking?
That wink was supposed to be for us, not for them.
Well, now you know what happened on the podcast, don't you? We're supposed to pick
Oh my gosh.
we picking up clues on the podcast. Look, man, the sex was my favorite part. All right, that's what it was. We are adults and married, so I think we can say that we have sex, make love, fuck, however you want to put it.
We're not supposed to talk like that.
Why? Who said that?
I'm just kidding.
We fornicated. And kept it quiet too. I didn't think we was gonna be able to stay quiet, but we kept it quiet.
Okay, let's talk about the trip to Walmart.
Nope. I'm stuck on this now. You know how I hate Walmart. I don't know why you bring Walmart up. That's not.
I know
my favorite
Walmart's not a fun trip, but
you want to talk about the prostitute walking through the parking lot?
well, just before we move on about Walmart, I like Walmart.
I know you do.
I know.
You buy clothes from Walmart.
And sometimes.
And when we got together, you try to pick up some stuff and show me Walmart.
I like a bargain.
I had to clue you in. Like, don't you ever show me your clothes? I would never be wearing shit.
I'm not picky. If I see something I like, I get it.
I know, I am. And you had to learn that about me. That's all.
Yes, I know.
Give me them husky jeans.
I think they were like Jordache.
Tuskies. Like, put them damn jeans on my face. Wearing them jeans. You can get like 6 of them for $10. Man, I'm good. Yeah, the trip to Walmart. Well, the only thing I really remember was a prostitute walking through the parking lot, Flagstaff.
You don't know she was a prostitute.
She had on a prostitute uniform.
What is a prostitute uniform, though?
What she was wearing.
No, I have to tell this story. We're driving through the parking lot, and he says, "Look at that prostitute." Well, I hope she's a prostitute. She's dressed like one. And I'm like, geez. And then 2 minutes later, we're driving past the hotel down the street. And I'm like, let's stay there, just kind of jokingly. And he's, that's where the prostitute lives. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't.
Look, that looks like a hotel where a prostitute would stay. And I'd live in a van before I would live in that hotel or stay in that hotel. But look, man, you got to be from where I'm from to understand. I'm expecting some friends of mine to be listening to as my brothers. Look, she was wearing the prostitute's uniform, all right? She had on a one-piece bathing suit with some baggy jeans and some platform.
They're baggy jean shorts.
Baggy jean shorts.
Like really short.
Yes, with some platform sandals.
They went up the thigh, like up the calf.
Yeah.
They wrapped around the calf.
Yeah. You don't just wake up and walk out the house like that. Like you trying to make a couple dollars. So
I can't.
she had her walk.
I mean, it's not my choice of outfit
It's
to wear.
nobody's choice of outfit. If you came out the bedroom with that, I'm like, what are you doing? You a prostitute?
No.
Go back and change your clothes.
You'd be like, where's the rest of your clothes?
Oh, man. So, yeah, that's it. Look, maybe she wasn't. I could be completely wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm not.
You could be wrong, though. You can't just go around accusing people of being prostitutes.
I didn't jump out the car and say, prostitute, and yell and point. Like, Like I had a search party. Like we was hunting down prostitutes. All right, so my favorite part of the weekend would be, honest to God, I can't mention names here, was when we went to one of the concerts, and I'm standing over there with friends of ours having drinks, and she tells me that they have cameras around the house now. And I'm like, what? She said, yeah. She said, because so-and-so was sucking them dicks outside the house. You remember that? She said, you remember that? I said, well, I remember, some stuff happening, but I don't know, was she sucking dicks? Oh, yeah, she was sucking dicks. I said, so you got cameras now? She said, yeah, so if somebody sucking dick out there, I want to see it. So I'm like, what? So she says.
She wants to see it.
She said she wants to see it. She said she wants to catch him.
Oh, okay.
Because she said, I'm married. And if I cheated on my husband, I ain't sucking no dicks. So she just goes into this whole thing about how lucky he is because she sucks his dick, but she was cheating. She ain't sucking no dicks until she starts making these motions like that motherfucker be going down on me. She like he grabbing the back of his head. And so her husband, I almost said his name, is standing there, and I'm just looking at him. He doesn't know what to say. So he just puts his arm around his wife. He says, thanks, babe. What to say, but she was for sure. And then another woman comes over and she starts, oh yeah, I ain't sucking no dicks if I'm fucking around with my husband. So it just made me laugh that this was the thing. It wasn't the fact that she was fucking around. It was she was sucking dicks. I'm sucking no dicks if I'm married, if I'm cheating.
I think I'm kind of glad I missed that conversation because I'd have hated if somebody turned to me and been like, you'd been, would you have been doing that? I'd have had to turn around and walk away.
I don't think they would have done that. But if they had, it'd been interesting to see what happened because you had a few drinks in you that night.
I think my favorite moment this weekend was just being there, seeing everybody. Mm-hmm. The guys always, put on a good event, and it was nice to see everybody. Getting to hang out with Desiree more, and Emily. Yeah. That was good. So,
yeah, and shout out to everybody out there, man. Especially starting with the guys who, the Play the Projects fellas who own all the Over Easies here in Arizona, and they got some big things coming. So, super proud of them, happy for them. But they put on a great event up there. And then, like you said, Desiree and excuse me, she and her husband Michael and their family Oxendale sponsored a ton of the things up there, and they're always so great to us. And then seeing Justin Gross and seeing Ryan
and Terry
Terry and seeing Sam over at Majestic and his family. I mean, I'm sure we're missing some names, but we've just really gotten some good friends.
Yeah,
up there.
Met a lot of good people.
It's hard to remember everybody when you're trying to list them all, but
you do. I was talking to Desiree about it. I'm like, you just do such a good job at being a good friend.
Oh, thanks.
Like you call people, you check on their families, you're invested in their lives, and I'm always the one that's like, I'm really sorry, I'm a horrible friend.
Who are you again?
No, I remember them. I'm not gonna make phone calls. I'm not gonna be texting.
Tell me again how you lost your leg.
I'm like, we had this conversation, right? I don't know. I'm not. It's not that I'm not a good friend because I love my friends dearly, and those people who are my friends know that they could call me any time of the night or at any moment if they're in trouble.
Absolutely.
Like I would be there for them.
You are a wonderful person.
But I'm not gonna be the one on the phone call checking in all the time. Not like you. You're really good at that. I've always admired that about you. About just you remember names, you remember events, you just know people. And I think that kind of goes back to, one of the reasons that I talked about wanting to do this podcast is putting myself out there. I tend to be very closed off, very in my own mind, and I think that is the same way when it comes to friends and relationships.
Well, I think it probably has something to do, again, going back to what we were talking about before, how we're raised and we're, whatnot. I mean, I do what I do for a living. You do what you do for a living. And I'm sure when you're at work, you remember what's going on with the kids.
Yeah.
And, you know all the kids' names and their family issues and all those different types of things. So I mean, it's not that you don't do it. We just have different groups of people we do it for, or different reasons we do it, I suppose. But
yeah, I guess I would agree with that, because sometimes when I'm at work and people will pass by me and say like, hey, is there any way you can help me with this? Or do you know where this is?
Right.
So those of you who don't know, this is my first year as an academic coach at a middle school. And so previous, I was a classroom teacher for 14 years. And so this is a new role for me, but people often say that I remember things like, wow, you remembered to do that. And so I'm very detail oriented versus like people oriented. If that makes sense. I don't know.
no, it doesn't make sense to me because because you're people oriented too.
Yeah, I guess
it just depends on the people.
Yeah.
That's all. Like I said, if it's, like I tell you all the time, you're very lucky to have found, and I know we talked about another profession you had wanted to pursue, but you didn't, and you ended up pursuing this. But this is what you decided on in college. And to be from that point to now and haven't had to or wanted to make any career change, I tell you all the time, you're very blessed to be in the situation that you are in because it's what you are meant to do. So you are people oriented, you're detail oriented as well. So just like I am, but you're people oriented. It's just that's not the people who get that type of attention from you. Adults normally don't get as much attention from you as those kids. I think
That's true.
Your heart just has a different compartment for kids than adults.
Yeah. I think it's because, I see myself in those kids and I just think about the people who came into my life and, gave me guidance when I needed guidance. And I'm not saying that my parents didn't, because they were guidance in different parts of my life. But I had some really important people step in, teachers, neighbors, just really important people step in and really root for me and help me become who I am. And so I think like that for kids. And I think, sometimes kids are dealt horrible hands, and
that's why you see yourself.
Yeah.
And I would say too, because you are always one to protect your parents and whatnot, as you should. They are your parents. So I'll say this: it does take a village to raise a child.
Yeah.
Even in the best of situations.
Yeah.
And so, you were very blessed or lucky, depending on how someone wants to word it, to have all the people who did put their focus and their love on you.
Yeah.
For almost your entire life, it feels like now for some of these people. So. Hopefully, though, when you were having this conversation with Desiree, she wasn't looking at you like, I don't know what you're saying about this dude because this dude sucks. Hopefully, she wasn't giving you that look.
No.
But she's a sweet lady. But I think it's important when you meet people to invest in them and try to invest in them as much as they'll let you.
Yeah.
I am one, if I meet you, especially if it's over business, I try not to let it just be over business if I can. I want it to become a personal relationship.
Yeah.
Because the last thing I want you to feel is what I feel sometimes, that you're only reaching out because you want something.
Yeah.
But I can only do that if you allow me to do that. There's some people that I've met and I've tried to do it, and then I'm good. I move on because you don't want to have that type of relationship. And I really have no interest in having a relationship where I'm only hitting you up if I want something.
Yeah. I'm not everybody sets these like New Year's resolutions and things like that, but I'm not one of those people. I don't set New Year's resolutions because I'm realistic. And I know like if I say I'm going to go to the gym every day, that's not going to happen. But I did set a couple goals for myself this year. And, the top two goals. One, I wanted to disconnect from my cell phone, which I've been trying really hard to do. Mostly that comes from watching the students I worked with this year. Working in a middle school, you just get to observe some things, and people are so lost in their technology and their cell phones. And I wanted to get back to reading and being more present. And so that comes down to those relationships. I felt like I was just so into checking in. Like I felt like, oh, I saw you on Facebook. I liked your post. I checked in with you. Where that to me is not, I started thinking like, how do I want people to treat me? And I love quality time with people. I really love going places and meeting for lunch and doing things, positive things. And so for me, I started thinking about, if I'm so invested in, Facebook and Instagram and all of these things, and I'm losing that human connection. And so for me, the other goal was to be more present in people's lives. And so I've been trying to make a bigger effort
And that's big for you.
Yeah.
That's big for you.
I know it is, because I kind of think, it's like out of sight, out of mind kind of mentality. It's easy for me to just shut things off and just focus on my home and be here with you and not worry about other people. So it's really a big step for me to. But
I think that's because you've made some real relationships with women. You like a lot of women, and like my mother included, who you just don't keep relationships with women because there's a lot of bullshit. Not my words, a lot of other women's words that come with it. But between Shauna and Amy and Maria and Michelle,
and Kat,
you got your core group, which is actually, for this point of your life, is a good size core group.
But I think it's just and
they check in with you.
They do.
So
and sometimes I need that, and I think that those people are so consistent in my life is because they know me, they know my strengths, they know my weaknesses. Where relationships is a weakness, and so sometimes you need those people in your life who kind of pick you up in those weakness areas, and so they do that for me.
That's such a good point. You're right. So you found friends who want to reciprocate but understand where your weaknesses are and want to try to lift you up. Yeah. So I didn't even think of it that way. That is such a good point, which in turn makes you want to do better.
Yeah.
So I think that's like any relationship, whether you be in a friendship or a romantic one.
Absolutely.
Right.
I feel that same way in our marriage. Like we're
going down the road. We're going down the road.
No, because you come
podcast to go.
You come into a relationship, you come with the good and the bad. Yeah. And I think we've laid that out from the beginning, and we know, I know on days that you're working at the club in the evening, I'm probably going to do more things on my own because you have a certain routine. You're in a certain headspace. So I'm doing things with my friends. I'm doing grocery shopping. I'm taking care of the house. I'm doing things that I need to do versus just standing next to your leg saying like, pay attention to me. So, and I think that's why we fit, because we know those moments about each other.
Well, that's definitely one of the reasons. I tell people all the time, one of the reasons I married her, because she doesn't try to breathe my oxygen. I'm not one of those people who requires for a woman to be around at all times and doing things for me.
I just need my foot touching you at night.
I know. I am very secure in doing, whether it be cleaning for myself, or ironing my own clothes, cooking my own dinner, making. I just don't. A lot of guys can't do that or don't want to do it, whatever it is. But what I was going to say was one of the things early on I was very grateful for was, one, you don't show up at all the shows for no reason, just to annoy me.
Do you know that's the biggest question I get?
What is it?
When you're doing stand up?
What's that? The
one question everybody asks me is, do you go to all of his shows? And I'm like, why? He doesn't come to work with me every day. What am I going to do? Just stand?
You need to ask the person, why do they ask? Why do they ask you that?
I know why they ask it, because they're speaking to me from an insecure place. Because if that was women. If that was their husband up on stage and women were wanting to take pictures with them and doing things, they would probably be at all the shows. But my thought is, I have a job. Yeah. And I know what you're doing when you're at your job. You're doing your work. Yeah. And I don't need to be standing there by the side of the stage waiting for you to get off. And I'm tired.
And I tell you this all the time. Yeah. Anthony, one of my brother's aunt, and not blood brother, but that's my brother's, my guy, sit next to me when you came over after the show at Stand Up Live. I think we were over at Copper Blues after the show. Everyone's kind of hanging out. And you came over and said, well, I'm going home. I said, all right. And you gave me a kiss, and she said, I'll see you at home. And I think I had someone walk you out. And I said, she's leaving? I said, yeah. He said, all these women around? I said, Tamra don't give two fucks about these women hanging around. It just has never, ever been a concern of yours.
I've only had one woman ever ask me, like, aren't you worried about all the women? And I'm like, nope, he's at home in bed every night. So
I do come home and I crawl right into bed. Every night, that is for sure. One time I came home at 4 in the morning.
This is before we were married, though.
This is before we were married. This is long before we were married. And I came home at 4 in the morning. And you didn't say anything, and I didn't think anything of it, really, to be honest with you. Because I was hanging out with the fellas, and Pops was there holding court when he used to be able to hang out later. And we were at Crack Ups. That was during the Crack Ups days. And but I could tell the next day you were upset because, Tamra doesn't get mad. When she gets mad, she just has a way about her. And like we fight, we don't really fight. Very seldom do we fight and someone's yelling. Normally, if it gets to that point, I'm yelling and she's crying. But when we fight, it doesn't even get elevated. So she was mad, and I could just tell she was mad. And I was just like, well, what's wrong with you? What's your problem yet? Well, you came home at 4. And
Why are you making fun of me like this?
This is how you sound. I'm not making fun of you. You know it. That's why you're laughing. You came home at 4, and I was worried about you. You didn't call or text or anything. That's all right. My apologies. I said I'll never come home at 4 o'clock. Again, I do apologize. I said, but I was A, B, C, and X, Y, Z. And he said, I get it. I understand. But I said, I'll never come home at 4 again. And I've never come home late like that again. But again, it wasn't even something I thought of. I didn't sneak in.
And even at this point, like, I don't expect you to check in with me, but I do at some point during the night, if you're coming home late, I need you to text me and say, I'm okay. And I think that
I don't do that because I know you're snoring and drooling. So I know,
but I will message you usually and say, are you okay? And as soon as you say, I'm okay, I go back to sleep.
Right. And sometimes you're messaging me and I'm already on the road driving home. So I'll see it when I pull into the driveway or something. And I walk into the bedroom and you're up with your phone, playing a game or looking at whatever. But yeah, it's always been kind of simple.
Do you know where that really started for me?
What's that?
If we think back, I think 10 years, and those of you who have been around, we in the beginning we lived in this townhouse, and it had a little road that went around, and it went one direction. You like there was no turns. You just followed the road. Yep. And me, young white woman, brown hair, blue eyes, I'd speed through there all the time. I never used a blinker, nothing. Then at the time, my boyfriend, soon to be fiance, he gets pulled over for not using a blinker on a road that you don't. It's just a windy road. Like you don't stop and turn.
You don't.
So I think that really brought to the forefront for me that there could be a real danger with you being out late by yourself, traveling home. Being a black man, and I never really thought of that before until that moment. And so then after that, it was just like, just tell me you're okay.
Right.
Like, and I think that's where that really came from.
Yeah. And you've said that before. And with the cop, I was so nice to that cop.
You offered him tickets
for the same, but for the same reason that you are afraid, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
I don't want to be pulled over for any reason because I don't want any issue.
Yeah.
I don't know who I'm. When you look at certain things, like when they're talking about a lot of the sheriff department in LA County, they're finding out those guys are part of gangs.
Yeah. It terrifies me.
And these guys have been doing shit, and I am not stupid enough to think that it's just in LA County. So any place when I get pulled over, I'm going to be as polite as possible.
Yeah.
And the cop says to me, man, this is the nicest I've ever been treated. Yeah. but he's not aware anywhere in his mind of why I'm being so nice.
Yeah.
He's just like, man, this is the nicest I've ever been treated. But in my mind, I'm like, yeah, motherfucker, I'm trying not to make it home.
I think we worry about each other in different ways. Like you worry about me during the daytime going to my job where it's located.
Because you don't go anywhere at night.
In the middle of the day.
You know why.
But
because you don't pay attention to anything.
I know you do say that.
No.
I think I do pay attention more than you think I do.
I think you don't because I watch you.
I think because I grew up, maybe I'm blinded to some of this stuff.
There is a video on IG Reels, and I watched it. It popped up again like last week. This woman is walking down the street, not paying attention, in heels, dressed decent, like, skirt, whatever, on her phone. And this guy coming the opposite way punches her in the face and for the next 60 seconds kicks and stumps her in the head. She's trying to get up, and every time she looks like she's going to get up, he kicks her in the face again, and then grabs her by the top of her head by her hair and drags her off of the fucking camera.
I haven't seen that, and that was in broad daylight.
I don't know if it was broad daylight because it was black and white. So,
I think that's what worries me most about you, though, driving home at night.
Some dude's going to drag me by my hair away.
Possibly. No, it's the middle of the night. There's not many people out. Nobody, not many people to see what's happening. And so I think I worry about that.
Yeah, but this is why I worried about you.
Yeah.
You don't pay attention. And if you're going to talk about this, tell the whole truth. When I got back here 10 years ago, we were dating again. You walked out the store just counting money in your hand, not looking around. I'm sitting in the car like, what is she doing?
I grew up here. It's not.
What does that mean?
I know. It just it was my own ignorance to what is happening in the world because, when you grow up someplace, you get used to.
Absolutely, you do.
You get used to what's going on around you. And so to me, it wasn't a dangerous thing. But then you pointed out these things and now I feel terrified.
You should feel terrified. You should feel terrified.
I mean,
somebody should have pointed out to that woman, and she probably wouldn't have gotten done to her what was done to her. She has no business walking around just locked in on her phone. Yeah. You're walking by yourself. You're a woman. You're alone.
I am more conscious about that though because of you. I don't text on my phone, and sometimes even when I see the students when they're leaving from school and they're texting on their phone, I'm like, put your phone away until you get home. Pay attention.
Pay attention to what's going on.
And so I do agree with that now.
Well, because people when we went to AutoZone that afternoon to pick up, or air filter or something for your car.
Yeah.
And I put the hood up because I was going to put it in, and I'm sitting there looking around, making sure everything's okay under there. One of the guys is fucking trying to sneak up behind me. I turn around. If I don't grow up aware of what's going on around me, who knows what this guy could have did to me?
Yeah.
And I turn around and say, "What's up?" He goes, "Oh, I thought I knew you." I said, "You don't know me." And he started to fucking moonwalk back to his fucking truck. This dude was fucking, why would you sneak up on me? Mm-hmm. Other than you mean me harm. And you think, obviously, for whatever reason, you think I'm not aware of my surroundings.
Yeah.
You got to be aware.
I agree.
You got to also keep that mic up to your mouth, man. You're driving me nuts.
I'm sorry.
Causing somebody a hard time in post after this.
I speak quietly.
No, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make sure you learn how to edit afterwards. So I'm
going to have to do the editing.
No. So you understand why it's important. Certain things are important.
Okay.
Just show up, just grab a mic, start talking.
I apologize.
No.
Did you guys hear that? That was an argument right there.
Right there. Sick of this shit. We are 2 steps away from divorce. 2 steps. I get on one of these AI sites and have some paperwork.
I'm really thankful that we're not one of those couples that has these big fights. I sometimes laugh because people will be like, "What do you guys fight?" No, we just talk about things and then we move on.
Nah, like I said, we have one big fight a year, and I say big fight for us, not like a big fight like I'm divorcing you.
I usually know it's coming because he's vacuuming.
Well, you should know it's coming because the fight is normally preceded with you saying, "But I didn't do nothing."
I didn't do anything.
Which is going to go on your head. But I didn't do nothing.
I didn't.
It's going on your headstone.
I'm pretty sure I didn't.
Yeah, no,
it's just something you thought I did.
Yes, because I'm a complete idiot. I think our last fight is what I said to you. You're like, "But I didn't do nothing." I said, "Oh, so I'm a complete fucking psychopath." Walking around mad for no reason. I had it. I walked out. You pain in the ass. All right, guys. Well, this has been the first episode of Running in Slow Motion. Hopefully you guys have laughed with us and enjoyed it. I'm sure friends of ours that listen to it will let us know if you enjoyed it. If you didn't enjoy it, don't listen again. We're probably going to make more of them.
Oh my gosh, my cheeks hurt.
But I will say this. We're not going to be coming on here like experts of marriage and finance and all of that stuff. We're going to come on and we're going to ramble drink some long drinks, and have a good time. And let you guys get to know my wife. And if we make $1 million from it, great. If we don't,
we'll keep running.
I'm gonna keep being pissed off about doing this podcast. So we're not making any money.
No, we'll keep running.
Oh, is that what we're doing? Is that our?
We'll keep running.
Is that our tagline for our t-shirts?
Yeah.
We just keep running.
I don't know if we can use that. It's like stealing from Finding Nemo.
What? See, this is the shit she
Keep on
watches.
swimming?
See, this is the shit she
I'm sorry. My brain just dumps sometimes.
This is the shit she does. No, you try to get all of the information that no one needs out of your head in the mind.
That's because sometimes my brain is full and I need it gone.
Right, but don't try to push it off over here. And I'm sure the podcast people didn't need to know some line from Nemo.
Sorry.
But we don't even have kids. Oh, I just keep swimming. Like, what is the line again? Just keep on swimming.
We'll just keep running.
I'm pretty sure they stole that from somewhere, actually. That sounds like something. That'll sound like something a fish would say. Thank you guys. It's been running in slow motion. We will see you guys next week. Have a good rest of your week.
Have a good week.